Last time on Dice Fall and Everyone Dies. Demiri throws down her bow, throws down her swords, puts her hands up in the air. I know when I beat. I nearly died once. If I can avoid it, I'm not going to do it again. So she throws her hands up in the air. Alec kind of moves up, standing next to Steno, backing up Kazlin, looking down at the bleeding vase, looks over towards Demiri. Lady Steno, either
Yes?
go all the way or none of the way. Bubbling around your sword, blood is gushing around the wound, and she finds herself at dying 3. You just want to press the sword down?
Yes.
Damn.
So you sever, move your blade through the cartilage of the back of her neck, and she is dead.
Damn, shit's dark, bro.
Mail fraud is a serious crime.
Welcome back to Dice Fall and Everyone Dies. GM Chris here, and today let's talk about everyone's favorite subject, religion, insofar that it pertains to Pathfinder and Galerion. Faith and religion are complicated subjects. On Galerion, there is manifest, verifiable proof of the existence of beings capable of altering reality who call themselves gods. This effect ripples out across the mortals inhabiting that world, shaping their cultures and causing epic dramas to unfold under the influence of these competing divine forces. There are creation myths, moral tales, and great battles of good and evil. On Galerion, good and evil are more than ideas. Law and chaos define more than social relationships or ethics. Holy water will burn demons or vampires. Wounds will close right before your eyes. Curses can literally immediately kill you. While remote, a god could literally smite someone with lightning. What is a player supposed to choose for their character? How does a player represent their character dutifully in such a world? The lore in Pathfinder does a fair job in representing many faith archetypes, often loosely based on Earth's belief systems, and then gives them a deity or some sort of structure for players to choose what they feel comfortable playing and what best fits their characters. The team has gone to great lengths to try and be fair and welcoming, as well as represent as many possibilities as they can while keeping their fictional world distinct. Choosing a deity becomes a balance between the mechanical game benefits for some class builds like clerics and champions, as well as a representation of character identity. This aspect of the game is relatively easy to deal with. Clerics and champions will use the charts in the core rulebook or supplemental books to choose abilities that they need that also fit their characters. Other classes will read through the deity profiles and find one that aligns either with themselves or with their character. Where matters get complicated is when plots and stories begin to delve into the drama of how faiths interact with each other and the world. Each person at the table approaches scenarios from a specific bias unique to them, which is used as a filter while they interpret mechanical concepts like good and evil or law and chaos into the narrative constructs of storytelling. The common result is conflict, when players are then confronted with moral or ethical quandaries where they as a person may be at odds with their fictional character. But that's also where the fun is. Every table can become a place to explore with friends the moral and ethical dilemmas that arise from unique situations. Is working with a devil worse than bowing to an evil god? Will you break a nation's laws to help an angelic servitor? Should you murder one villain to save the lives of thousands? Will risking redemption of a villain be accepted by the nation that they've harmed? Can someone unquestionably evil have a reason to perform observably good acts? Does a follower of Torag honor the people of his deity above all others? Can the paladin of Iomade put aside her differences with the Hell Knight Order to save the village from a horde of marauding undead? The GM's role in this area is fluid. They present the scenarios and reactions to the choices of the players, allowing a large amount of control on the depth of complexity that any given situation will evolve to. Sometimes a scene touches a player so deeply the GM must be aware of when to back off and allow time to process. Sometimes what may be perceived as a deep emotional quandary is actually neglected entirely. Consequences be damned. If your table signed up to kill bad guys and save damsels in distress, they may not want to deal with morally gray villains or role-reversed damsels. There's no handy chart available for what level of cognitive ambiguity players might be ready for. One thing that is not morally ambiguous is leaving ratings and comments on the podcast. Every one of them helps the show grow and lets us know what you like and want more of. Now, when we last left off, Voz was summarily defeated then slain, and Demir Yoltosha captured. How will the party deal with this aftermath? Welcome back, everyone. We are finally able to jump back in around the table, mostly at least half the safe distance away from everyone. And
We're
we get
easily 6 feet apart from most everybody.
Right, we did put Taffy in a corner.
Nobody puts
Taffy in the corner. How dare you?
What?
How dare you make that reference?
I started first.
How dare you?
I started it first. I went.
Only I can know that reference. That was certainly not a popular movie that most people have seen.
You're right. Only you.
Yeah, that's so obscure. Why would you?
Oh my god.
And my little GM's heart is so happy that we were back on proper mics, not being separated by distance. The last 2 episodes were so hard for me. So much of me just wanted to just go back and be like, we covered so much beautiful ground, but you must redo it.
No. I can't guarantee Statham will be that cool second go round.
So, but we didn't, and it's there, and it's fine. I will get over it. We'll just say it's just a mental scar. It'll be fine. Maybe one day I'll be able to figure out how to properly pull out robotization in voices, or get they'll come up with tools that will do it easily for me one day. But y'all accomplished quite a bit in our last session, I believe. Mm-hmm. So y'all made it through. Y'all came back into the cave system. Y'all got all the way down to around the other side, ended up meeting a wonderful arachnoid-ish aberration who got beat the shit up by a trident.
Oh, yeah.
And shared a lot of information with Brett about spiders, some directly with pincers. And swarms are so much nicer in Pathfinder 2 than Pathfinder 1. Because I was partially worried about what the swarm would end up doing to y'all in that fight, because Pathfinder First Edition swarms are really mean.
It wouldn't have done anything if Caslin hadn't poked it.
Well, we just needed to make sure it wasn't an actual person in there.
There was a person in there.
Well, alive.
Would have been worse if it's still alive, especially at the time. But that's fine. Everything's fine.
Partially alive.
Y'all picked up some splint mail out of it. +1 splint mail, gnomish size, in case you ever wanted to put Taffy in a set of armor.
Can we put Taffy in a set of armor?
No.
Taffy does not presently have the proficiencies for it, but there's nothing about armor that prevents spellcasting.
I didn't ask if Taffy had the proficiency for it. I asked if we could hold Taffy still while Stano puts the armor on her.
Taffy?
She will bite, kick, and scream.
So we'll take that as a tentative no.
Maybe. Maybe.
Possibly.
And then y'all
She
snaked your way.
Robes over it, is her question.
You could probably put your robes over it. You might have to get him let out by Mr. Finney, though, because splint mail does have a tendency to be a bit bulky. And then y'all made it into the other side of Oz's lair, and what I thought was going to be this interesting choke point, or are y'all going to be able to properly push through? How are y'all going to go in? Turned into a pretty much one-sided massacre. Hard. Oh, I thought that fight was going to be harder than it was, and
Let me tell you, jumping up on that box was a lot of fun. And it was everything that I wanted to be that scene in which Stano threw the table.
yeah, this time you didn't hurt an ally.
Yeah, I don't think Caslin...
That was Caslin's fault!
How?
Caslin should have rolled better.
And so, y'all made it in. You had this wonderful stepping on top of the box, coming down, and just brutally destroyed Voz. Just the hideous laughter combined with swords and guts.
And throats.
Yeah, I'm about to wonder if Taffy's eye obsession is going to be something similar, a model for Stanos' throat obsession going forward.
You take a
Who doesn't
spellcaster
have a
out by
throat
their
obsession?
throat.
What?
Huh?
Nothing.
You take out a spellcaster's throat, and that way they can't cast any verbal spells.
True. Unless they happen to have silent spell meta magic feat.
Well, she doesn't now, because her brain stem's been severed.
That's exceedingly
She ain't got
true.
no feats now.
And y'all captured
Still has
Demiri
two.
alive.
Just the ones that are hanging limp.
We need to capture Demiri alive. Thought she might be a hobgoblin that fights to the death, but she's like, nope, fuck that shit.
Then y'all also ended up discovering Vaz's journal with a few updates about her escapades in the caverns further down that y'all can see perilously out into the dark. But most of it happens to be in a language that Taffy recognizes as probably Necrol. And I
But will
don't-
not speak till tomorrow.
Correct.
And that is where we left off. So you now have Demiri bound and captured, and Alec has taken the time to inform you that alive she is worth 50 gold pieces.
It's okay.
So what is the plan now?
I believe the plan was to take her back. To take the body back.
I don't know if death is the appropriate punishment for mail fraud.
She assaulted us. The Honorable Sir Stygram can attest to that.
I agree, assault is involved. I also...
She attempted to murder you,
I believe necromancy is incredibly frowned upon.
but not illegal. Depending on where you're from.
We may want to have more solid evidence. Maybe something in that journal. It's probably worth a significant perusal, I think.
Give me some time.
How much time?
I need at least a night so I can do the spell, so I can understand it.
So what do y'all plan on doing with her body overnight? I do know that I know the appropriate channels to make sure that Demiri gets appropriately processed.
A thought. We could wrap her body up and then leave it in her own shop.
How would we get it into town without...
Wrap the body, put it over the horse.
But any guards that see us come in with a body draped over a horse and see the body...
It's wrapped, Taffy.
It is body shaped.
Or
That assumes they're very observant, though.
we can post watch, or I can get some sleep, and I can do this first thing in the morning.
Even if you are able to decode this, it's still going to be your word against theirs. Because nobody else can speak that. Nobody around here anyway.
Any spellcaster that can cast comprehend languages can.
And they are more inclined to believe us than her. Greta already knows that Vaz has misapprehensions about Breach Hill.
Well, and only one side can speak now as well. In fact, I don't even think if someone used necromancy on her that she'd be able to speak again. It's
I'm
a
sure
very
speak
thorough
was dead.
severing.
Technically, you can make skeletons speak when you talk to dead. So, I mean, maybe.
So do we want to head back into town, or shall we camp? The horses do have enough provisions for at least an overnight.
A thought. We could use Vaz's shop as a base operations.
It's creepy and I don't like it.
What's creepy?
My blood's all over the floor.
Well, what?
That's
what
your
are
fault.
mops for?
How did your blood get on the floor?
Breaking and entering.
No. I was trying to rescue Vaz before we knew she was an evil bitch.
Did you know she was in trouble in her shop?
I thought she might be.
We had a fair amount of concern from information that we received from her apprentice.
Ah, the shady Calmont fellow. They were telling stories of him, while Pib and Zarf were deep boxing. He does not seem right in the head anymore. Why would you follow the suggestions of a now mad halfling?
He's now mad. He wasn't mad initially.
Wow.
Oh goodness, Taffy, you didn't do anything to his head, did you?
No.
No.
We just cut off his hand.
Oh, right or left?
I believe it was his left hand.
Oh good, he should be fine then. He'll be able to take care of things.
That was not necessary.
Look, there's always a predominant hand, and it's always worse when you lose your dominant hand. He'll be able to eat properly now. He'll be able to write. It's a minor concern.
He's in prison. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm sure it matters to him. You need him to be able to sign the confession.
Crazy last we spoke.
Crazy, you say?
It's almost like something came over him. It's very interesting.
Maybe something similar happened to this now perished Vaz. Does she even have a surname?
Lorraine, I believe?
A Vaz Lorraine.
But we've seen her writing, and it's,
She's always kind of been like this.
Well, wizards do have a tendency to be far thinkers. I was considering crazy. I didn't want to go that way. Taffy can be sensitive.
Is he whispering?
Yes.
I'd like to roll a perception check.
She's right there with everybody else. She can hear.
Yeah, you heard it. Your hearing's astute.
Alec?
Yes,
Systagrum.
Melody.
Perhaps minding one's words about that would be wise. I'm sure there are many signifiers that you would follow and bow.
Lady Taffy, did you want to become a Hell Knight signifier? You could put out so many demonic eyes that way.
Tempting, but your system's a little too structured for my cup of tea. Plus, I don't know that I've ever seen a gnomish Hell Knight.
Though they are generally rare, they are quite ferocious in battle. So many kneecaps die in those days.
And I imagine groins.
Oh, yes.
Why
Absolutely.
are you imagining groins? Now is not the time.
Get your head out
I
of the
have
gutter.
heard this legend of the gnomish barbarian.
Okay. I get where that's
No, I'm
going.
interested. Hang on.
Let's hear this story.
He went by the nickname Ball Ripper.
Oh, no.
Okay, never mind.
Did he choose that name or did somebody give it to him?
I believe it was given to him.
Earned.
See, he was strong enough to be able to rip off the codpiece of pretty much any piece of plate armor, and thus grievous wounds then followed.
Thanks, Alec.
Taffy meant it more as like a threat
no.
for calling him a kneecap biter, but or for calling gnomes.
Regardless, I don't know how comfortable I am staying over here. Especially considering it's already dark.
Didn't the journal mention something about a scary woman down further?
A spider woman, but yes.
Same thing.
Do you find spiders scary,
Caslin,
Caslin?
that
I
incident...
find a spider woman scary.
Caslin, that incident, it really did something to you, didn't it?
What incident?
The one where you poked the bag.
I wouldn't call that an incident. I'd call that just a happy thing that happened to me the one time.
Okay, if we don't want to sleep in the cave, we could always just go into the woods. We're not that far.
Does any of the structure still remain from the...
No.
No, it's all gone.
Whooshed. Yes.
Even a little
when-
cabin, it's completely...
Correct. So when y'all were coming in, y'all did look to see if there was anything that remained of the cabin itself, and you see the remnants of timbers that you can vaguely make out the foundation of it somewhat.
I don't know how that happened.
I wonder, Taffy. I wonder.
Also, I don't trust camping with Demiri.
She's bound. We can gag her.
Well, if you would
Target
like,
injury.
if y'all want to not have the prying eyes of the local township on you, I can bring Demiri back to Breach Hill in your stead and then meet y'all back up in tomorrow morning. And then pay a visit to Pib and Zarf. They have been alone with 2 warg puppies in town all day.
Oh, I should go into town and check on that as well.
So what shall we do?
Okay, so there's 3 ways into town. And Vaz had the Reliant Book Company. Are there guards posted at each way into town?
Yes.
Okay. I say we take the risk of the body being found out. We go in the back way towards the Reliant Book Company.
Is everyone in agreement?
It's
Gag the hobgoblin.
the only way it's going to work, so...
Alright, who's going to do the... he's going to continue binding the hobgoblin.
Okay.
So go ahead and give me... Let's go ahead and go with an athletics check.
Natural 20. 28.
Everyone
I
is...
just imagine
I just wasted that
Kat
20.
just did Shibori or Shibiri.
That's great.
Shibari.
Shibari, like really well, but not in a gross way.
So as y'all see Kazlin tying all of Demiri up, making sure that she is extra secure, you very much wonder how many times Kazlin's been bound or if he's been on ships before, because she is not going anywhere.
Cousin,
He's pretty good at that.
you're very accomplished at that.
Mm-hmm. He just nods his head as he finishes it off with this giant, ornate, beautiful-looking bow. Right where, like, the top of her head. So it looks
Oh
like she's
my
wearing a bow in her
God.
head. But it really is just the rope that's binding her. Something to look nice.
Do you have sisters?
I don't want to think about her.
Hmm.
Ask me again when I'm in a good mood.
Do you have a good move?
I don't know. What do you think?
The answer to that is no.
Demiri kind of looks over. You know, that was kind of hot until you put the bow on my head.
I thought we were gagging her.
You haven't gotten to the gag yet. Then the gag goes on. Okay.
Oh my god.
Strange fellows.
You know, there's also another way we could handle this. Taffy, I know you're no longer interested in necromancy, but you do have a background in it. If we remove her head, will that prevent anybody attempting to use her body further?
Would I know that?
That would be a knowledge arcana.
That's not bad. I could have taken assurance too.
Yeah.
Oh. So that's gonna be 26.
So you know that for a lot of the necromancy spells where you're just dealing with the dead body itself, you mostly need the body generally intact but not necessarily whole. So most of those tend to be a calling of the spirit, and so a lot of the actual vocalization is coming from the magic and the spirit interacting, and less about the actual vocal cords of the cadaver that's there. Now, there are some versions where you're doing full reanimation, and then if you happen to be putting a soul back into a reanimated corpse, then you need the body itself properly functional for speech.
Why don't we just burn her?
Why don't we just remove her head and give the body to the Tixatog? Other objections?
Not here.
I suppose that's one way to purchase passage.
It's true.
It's better to make...
That would make bringing her body back into town a much easier process.
Then we'll do it. And Stano's gonna chop off her head.
It's already mostly done.
Yeah. And, like, wrap it up in, like, cloth or something so, like, the blood doesn't get everywhere. And stow it away.
Well, that it will make it lighter. Now you just need to sacrifice one of your bags to it.
I have a separate bag for it.
Well,
It washes.
Back into
she
town
did
we
assault
go.
a Hell Knight. I suppose I'd rather kill the beastie than feed it. We'll put it on its guard and maybe kill it later.
Perhaps. And Stano's gonna heft Vaz's body over her shoulder. And start heading back towards where the spider is.
The Tixatog sees you coming along. You kind of hear it kind of rubbing its little...
Mandibles.
Yeah, the mandibles do that little bit of the clicky sound that's
Little
there.
spider feetsies.
Yeah, it's little spider feetsies.
I just imagined. Like,
And the thing is that it's not just like one set, that's the two sets on the back plus
Oh
the
my
set that's using that
God.
are doing it. Like, why have you brought me?
Well, dinner. And you will never attack us again. Agreed?
Dealsies!
And Stano's gonna drop Vaz's body.
It brings it, and then it lifts it up on its two back sets of feet, and it starts crawling over, and you see it pulling and reusing the web from the previous cocoon, and you see that there's a couple fresh sets of spider sacks that it somehow has forged in the time that y'all were there. She's like, and then we'll place this here, and just in a few days, I think, yes, more snacks! I shall call you the snack bringers.
Well, I
Thank
already
you,
have
snack
bread.
bringers.
Is that spider related to magic?
That's a good question.
I don't have enough click-clack in the back of my throat to properly do that. So, y'all head back into town, and y'all are wanting to come in through the side entrance back into town to stop by the Reliant Book Company first still?
Well, I mean, now that we've just got ahead, do we need to even stop there?
Yes, because I still would, like, as a player, like, we have the Citadel as a good, like, little base of operations there, but it's also good to have one actually physically in Breach Hill. So
It's fair.
we could go over there, pick the lock in the back, get back in. Did we ever lock that back door again?
I did.
You did?
Yeah. Trying to remember, but yeah, I believe I did.
Y'all have had the town guard in there at least once along the process of this, and so they have the relocking of it done, though it was still difficult for them to realize that the back door was still there. But now as y'all
Did the town guard go through the back door?
well, you can see the back door from the inside. You don't necessarily see it from the outside.
This is kind of a weird not really meta question, but did Vaz own the building, or did she have like a benefactor that's going to be an issue when they find out she's dead? If we want to use that building as like a base,
We'll find out. Honestly, we could just buy it from Breach Hill.
Depending on how much it is, but yeah.
So y'all can get back in there. Demos is able to quickly pop the lock now that it is Demos' easily third time getting into this lock in the back. And so y'all are in Vaz's bookshop.
Oh, look, Taffy, they cleaned up the blood.
Did they?
So you look around and you don't see any blood in the initial area that's there. And you go into the side shop area, and it looks like it has not yet been cleaned up fully, but it does look like there's been spots where they've done maybe a couple little marks, like someone has come in and done a cursory inspection.
Is the glass on the front door still broken from where Taffy broke it?
No one has repaired it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Stano's gonna put Vaz's wrapped head in Vaz's back area.
So just where the like in the storage room area in the back.
Does she have, like, because I'm assuming she was living in this building, right?
She was.
Does she have, like, a little cold storage area? Like, she would have had a kitchen.
Give me a perception.
You mean I can roll my new dice?
You can roll your new wonderful looking rainbowy dice.
I got them from Heartbeat Dice, not sponsored. That's a 17.
17. So as you're kind of looking around the area, you can tell that Vaz has been mostly kind of like the studious side of Wizard, not necessarily the one that's been continuously trying to do like weird sorts of experiments. But that seemed to only go so far as you start actually searching around the main part of a room and you start finding head-shaped jars.
Stano's gonna pop the head in it.
And you start looking around and you see that there happens to be some preserving liquids in the back. Taffy points that one out pretty quick. And she's like, and that's what we use to preserve specimens for study.
I oddly feel like I'm in my mother's office.
Does your mother
Close the drawer.
Does your mother have a lot of heads?
My mother's a wizard.
Caslin sees Vaz's head going into her own storage mediums and just says, ironic.
It definitely has this weird creep factor. Where do you want to put the head?
We'll leave it in that little storage area of hers.
In the back.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to put it on her front counter where anybody walking by can see it.
Say hi to Vaz. Hi, Vaz.
That might feel like a threat.
At least it's not on a pike outside.
Taffy looks like she has ideas.
No, I was just thinking of a different show that I watch where a spicy female character who was evil got her head put on a pike.
And Demiri's...
Oh, I forgot we had Demiri.
Yeah, Demiri's with you. And Demiri's just like, oh my god, they went through a wall. And through there, oh, we're in a thing. It's like, oh yeah, this is what the boys were talking about. Wait, and then they see the chemicals go through. She goes, weird sort of smell. And then as you're putting the head in the jar, her eyes just got really huge. Just like,
Yes.
Vertal.
A little.
Vertal.
Vertal indeed. Vertal indeed.
And Alec kind of pulls on the rope. I think it's time that we get to this one behind bars.
Oh, yes, of course.
Actually,
Oh no.
Oh.
She's only got one eye left, Taffy.
no,
My
no.
favorite thing is when Taffy says, actually.
I was thinking about this on the ride over.
We don't have the components. Sorry, continue.
Putting a pin in that. I was thinking about this, and if we take Demiri back right now, she's just gonna spill everything. She's gonna talk about the fact that we killed Vaz. She's gonna talk about the fact that we came back and attacked them again. And we don't
Were we
have-
not justified? Vaz committed theft of Alec's heirloom family sword.
I mean, that's fair, and the guards have been proven to not want to do anything outside of Breach Hill.
Additionally, Vaz committed theft of mail.
And as much as I don't really care for their ways, he is a Hell Knight, and his word is worth a lot.
As a Merelictor, I can shield questioning for some time, but I will need to have my presence here to do so. I can handle this vector for y'all, if y'all want to see what is going on with that journal of Vaz's. It's not like she needs it anymore. Though, if he did reanimate the head, she could read. That sounds like such a boring existence, being ahead and reading all day, never being able to swing a sword again. But
I have a brother who would enjoy that, though.
he sounds like a wonderful chap. Oh my goodness, that one?
What about him?
He is quite good at his martial prowess.
No, not that brother. The other brother.
How many brothers do you
What's happening
have?
right now?
What?
What's happening right now?
She has several siblings, some of quite powerful renown.
I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters.
But I can keep the authorities here in Breach Hill engaged, at least for several days, while y'all follow up on anything that you need to.
I'm not terribly concerned. As long as we can get this journal translated, we'll follow up with Miss Gardania and the council, and we'll handle it from there.
Well, then it sounds like I have a trip to make. He yanks on Demiri's, and she's like, "Arr!" Begins hauling her towards the town center.
Taffy's going to round up as many, or like a blank book if Voss has any in the shop, and pens, quills, whatever, as well as ink.
Give me a perception check. Search that place. Pillage it for writing sets.
Can I help?
Yes.
So
Perception, yes.
19.
You didn't get any help from me.
So you see Chasm, like, seeing that you're looking around for stuff, starts pulling books that he thinks you might be slightly interested in. You're like, no, I already know that one. No, I already know that one. And then you're going around pulling together the writing sets. And then Chasm pulls out, like, a couple more books. And it's just like, the first one is just the Beginner's Guide to Goblin. And then right next to that one is a much thinner version. It's the Beginner's Guide to Necrol.
Helpful.
Very helpful.
So you're able to put together probably 2 writing sets worth between pens, paper, ink, and all that good stuff. And then a couple primers that you would be able to spend time to learn languages if you so desired.
Well, I will take the Necrol and hand the goblin to Kaz and be like,
Here, you might like reading this.
Okay.
So where do you want to do your translations?
well, I guess now that I have the book, I can start tonight. She'll just go over to Vaz's desk, shove everything off of it, and pull up a chair.
Okay.
Taffy, should we leave you here? Would you be comfortable?
No, but I'll do what I can.
Okay. I'm going to go try and find the kobolds and check on the wargs.
Okay.
And what's Damus going to be up to?
Go with, Sano.
I'd like to know, her desk is in, like, her back workroom, not, like, in the main floor, right?
She has a couple workstations, yes.
So she would want to be in one that's secluded so that she can block out the light that she's going to need for the lanterns, so nobody knows that she's there.
So that will be primarily in Vaz's study. You'll have to spend a little bit of time clearing space, since when Vaz left, it was in a bit of a disarray. And y'all tromped all over it a couple times now.
Okay.
But that's fine. You can put it together. It's just you know, you have to get up on the stool a couple times, off the stool a couple times, move things around a couple times. Standard gnomish.
Grab some books and make myself some staircases up to the stool.
Yes.
Once we formally purchase this, we'll have it reordered for you.
Good. It sucks being short when tall people don't keep that into consideration.
I understand.
And Kaslin, what do you want to do?
I think Keslin's gonna make a soup. A stew.
A stew?
Make a stew. Is there a hearth somewhere?
I imagine there's like burners and stuff for like boiling potions and whatnot.
So you can tell that there is an area where some of the householdy type stuff would be done, so where there's a stove and that kind of material. So you can start cooking up some material there.
Okay.
Do you still have some of that turtle meat?
It's been a while.
It has been some time. It would be at kobold levels of acceptableness.
Fine, I'll go to the store.
Go pick up some ingredients.
Yes. I'm gonna get a little basket.
Okay.
So Kaslin is off shopping. Alec is taking Demiri in so that she can be properly confined and then begin the process of getting y'all's reward for capture brought in line. And then Stano and Demos are going to go track down y'all's lovely, wonderful kobold friends.
I'm going to assume they're probably around the Pickle Ear.
Give me a society check.
Okay.
Because y'all have been gone for quite some time. Y'all are at the middle of the night, essentially, at this point.
That is an 18.
So, at this point in the middle of the night, you go over and you check by the pickled ear, and most of the pickled ear is beginning to clear out. Last call has been done. You start asking around, and the patrons do tell you that they had a lot of fun with Pib and Zarf doing their practice deep boxing routine and playing with the warg puppies back and forth. These cute little stories of the various barmaids as well as Roxy just petting them the whole time through, and just these lovable squeals of the wonderful cute puppies.
Socialization. Those are going to be awesome dogs. Wargs.
And Pib and Zarf said that they were going to go make sure that everyone was tucked in properly back in their homes for the evening, because they were going to do their best to be responsible. We think they meant responsible, but they said responsible. And at this point, we just take them at their word.
Are Roxy's waitresses wearing booty shorts yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Do you ask about the booty shorts?
Yeah, Stano's gonna find Roxy specifically to ask about that.
Honey, that's still on order. You realize if you're having Mr. Finney take care of a fully custom order that he has just seen and slightly heard of, that it is going to take him a few moments to get that together. He is a miracle worker, but he still needs his time, love.
Alright, he mentioned it.
Now, Demos there. If you want to switch out, if he has something that he can do a full pattern by, we should be fine. I know a couple of the girls are very interested in being able to take those from you.
Might have to let him borrow them then.
Girls, you want to go ahead and lead Demos to the back?
What the hell are they going to swap him into?
Honey, we got things in the back for you.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Taffy's not there.
I'll get him back later, I guess.
My concern is that we were in a cave earlier.
Yeah, I was standing back most of the time. I didn't get...
Go away. Go with the girls.
Okay.
The girls take you back. They are not bashful in the process of it. You get a few hints. Do you want to take advantage of any hints, Damos?
No, not right now. He will flirt back with them a lot, though.
All right. So about 20 minutes later, after some heavy petting, Damos comes back.
God.
Comes back out in far less in far more covering material. And the the girls kind of come out, and you see that they kind of put their... one has her hand on her chest, the other one has her left hand up on her mouth a little bit, and they just kind of got this little twinkle as they come out. He really does have the softest hands.
If you insist.
You know.
But Pib, Zarf,
Zara?
and the puppies are not Tia.
Then I guess she's gonna head back to the Wizard's Grace.
So you begin heading back to the Wizard's Grace, and everything's still pretty calm. You have to hit the door several times to be able to get someone to come up because we're in the middle of the night at this point. Get brought in, and as one of the young apprentices is there, it's like, "Oh, Lady DeMaul, I think they're in your room. I don't think it was Lady Taffy's room.
Well, as long as they're there.
Right this way, ma'am."
She's gonna go back to her room.
So as you head into the room and you open it up, you see that it looks a little bit like your room has been hit by a tornado.
Oh, no.
A circular structure has been made out of the mattress as well as the bed and the pillows. The blanket has been used to create its own little pseudo mattress because it just wasn't... The mattress itself wasn't the appropriate amount of snuggly. And then you see curled next to each other are both of the warg puppies as well as Pib and Zarf in basically this mounded nest of scales and fur. And as you open up the door, both of the warg puppies kind of sleepily...
Oh, no.
And it is about this point that Pib just rolls over and smacks Zarf's snout with his backhand. Is deep.
So the bed is no longer on the bed.
Correct. The mattress is not on the bed. Everything has been moved around. The puppies have pulled over anything that's had y'all's scents that's there. And you realize that there's one blanket that doesn't even have the matching colors to
They stole Taffy's blanket.
y'all's room.
Oh dear.
Is Luna curled up with that one?
Luna does happen to be curled up on the one of the different color.
Well, I guess it's better than one of her robes.
But it is absolutely struck by a tornado. A cute, scaly, furry tornado. You may not be able to sleep in here properly tonight. I mean, unless you want to pull a Deimos and sleep on the floor.
Maybe a bed at Vaz's as well.
There was a bed at Voss's.
She'll consider it. She is going to kick Deimos out of the room, and she's going to get changed into not her armor.
It's awkwardly standing outside of the door. It's like, my clothing's in there too.
Well, hold off.
So you get dressed and you've got these soft little... You didn't know that kobolds could snore, but they can snore. And the puppies are a little bit excited, but it's this kind of edged of... It's that puppy sort of excited that lasts for like 2 minutes and then they just want to go back and curl up at this point. Mm-hmm. But you're able to get changed without issue.
Okay.
Taffy, while this is going on, go ahead and give me a society check for the translation. And Brad, give me a perception check to find a night market.
27.
That's going to be fun.
18.
So you begin doing the translation of the document, and...
Oh, wait. Society? Oh, yeah, no. 18.
You think that you have enough here in the primer to get the gist of what's going on, but it'll probably take you at least 3 or 4 hours to take care of it. You know, you'll probably want to rest and then finish it up. So if you factor in resting, you can probably be done with it by about noon the following day. When you figure in resting, spells, and then translation. Unless you just want to burn through the translation.
They have to be exhausted.
If you wanted to begin immediately acting the next day, you would essentially be exhausted at that point, but you could just then sleep and then get your spells.
I'd recommend waiting till just just doing the standard long one where you rest and then get it all done by noon. We're not in any hurry.
Yeah, but what would Taffy do? Taffy would rush. Like, she would...
There's information there that she does not know. She really wants to know it.
Exactly.
So, Taffy, you're burning the midnight oil then, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So let's talk about Caslin and the night market.
Night market.
So Breach Hill seems to be this lovely, shining sort of town in the middle of Podunk nowhere, and a valley that you would imagine should be overrun by some sort of goblinoid menace that is going to plague the rest of Isker. But instead, it's this lovely little town out in the middle of nowhere. So you're like, where would the markets be at this point in town? There shouldn't be any sort of underbelly when it comes to Breach Hill. But as you're looking around, you know that every town of any size has at least someone dealing something at all points of the time. If there's been stones set up, someone's doing something either that they couldn't do in the daylight, or they are just up very, very late. You just think of Taffy and her willingness to translate anything. So, like, you can find something. And as you're going through, you realize that the best place for you to find people happens to be at Lamont's End. And what you thought was going to be some sort of shady connection ends up being that the only place that's open in the middle of this town is the soup kitchen. And at Lamont's Lament, you find that there is essentially a 24-hour soup kitchen there and available. And as you come in, they even offer you soup ready to go. And if you want, you have the opportunity to purchase ingredients, of course, for a donation to keep the place running.
Okay.
They're here to service anyone who needs the assistance from either Desna or Shaylin, and sometimes Caden, but Caden normally assists in the bars. We're here for you, my child.
You guys got veggies?
Oh, yes.
You guys got meat?
Some.
I
Not
want
as much in the
those.
veggies. Shaylin likes to go ahead and make little roses out of the vegetables and cucumbers. It's the Shaylinites. It's all about the whole eternal rose thing. We don't question them anymore.
I see. Well, I want some meat. I want some veggies. So,
For the right donation, I think we can make that happen for you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Is it really a donation if it's contingent on the exchange of funds?
Anything to get by taxation.
I feel you, man. All right, well, look here. He jiggles his coin purse. I've got some money here. You've got some stuff. Why don't we make a deal?
How much you need?
So dramatic for buying soup.
How much you got?
Oh my god.
Well, I think we have enough to feed about 50 people
That'll
presently.
do.
Buddy.
Drops his coin purse on the counter.
All right. Are you literally dropping your whole coin purse on the counter?
I'm dropping it on the counter and then reaching in to grab the appropriate amount of coin. It was just for effect.
At first, his eyes got really big because he could hear the gold and the silver and the copper kind of clinking together in there. And then when he sees you pull open the drawstrings and then picking out coins at a time, the expression kind of goes from this amazed to, okay. So to be able to feed about that many people for all the material and the like that they have there, you're probably looking at a solid 5 silver worth of material.
You said 50 or 15?
50. Because remember, they are a soup kitchen primarily focused on soups. So when you combine water, the vegetables, and all of that material, you're just looking at raw ingredients. Remember, they would probably be about a gold and a half if they were doing the equivalent of selling it or putting it down on what they would do for taxes, because, that's what you would sell the amount at, and you got to make sure you got your tax advantage. It's run by a dude who really studied under a lot of the Abadar clerics for a while, and he got really tired of just dealing with all of their numerical nonsense, and he decided to turn it towards good. His soul still doesn't feel clean, but he's trying.
Caslin hands over 2 silver, 5 copper, and says, "You don't want anybody going hungry, I suppose."
That's half the amount. I said 5.
He's taking half.
Ah, I understand. Would you like some soup?
I'll pass. I'm making my own, thank you.
So no soup for you?
That's correct.
Fuck you.
Talk about obscure references.
But the coin exchanges, and you've got this bushling pile of vegetables and a good chunk of what you assume is probably cow that's there. Maybe a little bit of lamb and pork in there as well. So it's probably about the equivalent of about $200 worth of groceries or so.
God damn. Sorry.
So you bring your haul back into back towards the Reliant Book Company, and you realize on part of the way there, you get this kind of feeling from Dago. One is a little bit hungry, but the other is that something's following you. Give me a perception check.
15.
You realize you're being followed by a couple cats who smell the meat.
Oh.
Meow. So you're able to get back and you can begin doing the soup. And y'all find yourselves in the morning time. And when y'all eventually converge back to the Reliant Book Company, Pib and Zarf are wholly unapologetic for making your room nicer, by the way. They believe that it was the appropriate way for that room to be set up, and they are appalled that you allowed the room to be in an unfit state for sleeping.
Well, while they're lecturing her on that, Stato's going to be lifting the fucking mattress and putting it back on the bed.
They're like, so where'd Damo sleep?
I'm not sure.
Right next to you.
Huh. Where'd your shorts go?
Gave them to the girls at the bar.
They're nice girls.
They are.
Did you show them your tush? They like it when we do our booty bumps.
Technically,
so
I did
cute.
take my pants off.
Isn't that normally a human mating procedure?
Technically.
We're not discussing this.
Why is that?
Don't worry about it, guys.
Have you two done your morning training yet?
That is a great point. Do you need us to take care of the works again today? We think we can begin learning maneuvers together.
Oh?
Yeah, you said we can't cast a spell on him except for Featherfall.
Yes.
Oh no.
So what happens when you have two wargs at different elevations with Featherfall? We call it the Warg Ladder. But do you want to see?
Yes.
All right. Come on, girls. Let's go show her how it works. So you see Pib, Greaves, and Luna go up to the second floor of the inn and an open window right there. And then you see Zarf at the bottom. And then you see Pib cast Featherfall on one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Greaves leap out the window. You see Pib cast Featherfall on the second. And Luna jumps out the window a few seconds after. And as they're going down, you see them just running their little paws as fast as they can out there. And then as soon as they get to within a jumping distance, because you're looking at like this distance of probably about 15 feet, so just like half a second later, that's when you see Zarf take his staff, push himself up on the staff to land on top of Greaves, and then jump up on top of Luna, and then jump up to the window that's there. And then you see Pib cast Featherfall right back on Zarf. He then Featherfalls back down the other part of the feet. And then once they're there, they just start running around and going through little training maneuvers again. We think it's super awesome. It's a great way to help people get up when they weren't supposed to.
I think I briefly had a heart attack.
I still feel like I'm having one.
Yeah, the first time was a little weird, and they didn't like the idea of going out the window, but we knew it was safe. They got used to it.
Did you shove my warg out the window?
Not technically.
You're
No.
lucky you didn't lose an entire hand.
That's true. I mean, the first time we jumped out with them.
That's not offering me any confidence.
Boys,
in
that's
the
very dangerous. But I do appreciate the creative thinking.
They're getting very good. They're very, very smart.
They are. How old are wargs when they start to talk?
I forgot.
Give me a knowledge nature.
20.
So you know that wargs have the growth rate that kind of parallels humans, but it's at an accelerated rate. It's there. But they're not quite as slow as what you would say dog years. So you figure that if the mature or young mature animal for a wolf would be anywhere between that 6 to 12 month stage. You may be looking at somewhere closer to like 12 to 18 months for a warg.
Okay. And these are just baby puppies.
Yes, they are exceedingly young.
Okay.
So they're just having the time of their lives.
Yeah, okay. That sounds fine. Stano trusts the kobolds with them.
And when you get older, we're going to go ahead and work on dodge.
No, no.
It'll be great.
What are they dodging?
A wrench.
Car.
Well,
Dodge a
we figure something soft to begin with.
I never even watched that movie. I just remember the commercial.
Well, we figure if they... Well, you see, the thing is, we tried doing... I shouldn't say this. We tried the exercise to begin with, but every time we threw the ball, they kept catching the ball, and so it's hard to dodge if you're catching.
I think that's talent.
It is, but that's not the drill we were working on.
That's fair.
Because normally I just go ahead and throw rocks at Zarf, and it's great. Very stress relieving.
Do not throw rocks at my wargs. Or at each other.
Well, it's only a problem when he takes a stick and hits it back at me.
Oh god.
That's a sport.
Not when it's a rock.
I mean, it could be a sport.
What's a
It
sport?
is in Cheliax.
Wait, y'all throw rocks at each other in Cheliax for fun?
Generally.
I wouldn't.
Then what's a
doubt that.
sport?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's competitive fun.
Ah. Like deep boxing.
Is beatboxing competitive?
It is between the two of us. I mean, we haven't found anyone else who does it, so we think it is a very small sport.
That's fair. Boys, it's time for breakfast.
Yeah!
Yes, you too, Greaves. And Luna.
And so as y'all get through, you get breakfast. Taffy is just finishing up her translation, having just burned through the material presented there. And Taffy, you have found some information. So as you're going through this journal, you found that Vaz seems to be considering herself a bit of an entrepreneurial sort. You see, what Vaz wanted to do, and what Vaz was trying to do, was complete a part of a bargain that she made with this organization. Her goal was to use her lovely little book company to start an assassination guild. But not enough people in Breach Hill read for her to have enough profit to actually get enough cash flow beyond just being able to keep the book company itself afloat. And she was out there looking for angel investors, or Chelich investors. But in the end, she ended up making contact with these people of the Scarlet Triad. And she was trying to provide for them incentive to sink capital into her would-be organization. And her plan was to find the Ayadara that her research said lies under Hell Knight Hill. And if she could find those and get them operating, she would be able to use the endpoints of whatever those ring of Ayadara led to create an undetectable traveling network for her assassination guild. And all she had to do to get this place, or these people known as the Scarlet Triad, interested was get in contact with their representative, Lasloon. And in doing so, with proof that she had access to these Ayadara, that she would then be able to get the funding necessary to begin her Assassin's Guild. And so in there, you find that of her letters, another interesting part where it says, and at the end of each letter, that they were signed by Norgorber's hand.
Oh.
Is that a religious figure for Norgorber?
Do you have knowledge religion?
Yes.
Give me a religion check.
Medic catch.
Thank you, Lady Taffy.
14.
From what you remember, Norgorber is an evil deity, but they do have this aspect of their religion where he's known as the Reaper of Reputation. They are the less evil of an evil organization, but you don't know too much more beyond that they are of the worst, the least worst. And as you're going through, you find a few more notes on how the ritual is performed that makes copying that ritual that you found significantly easier. You also find a lot about her research methods. So she pulled an awful lot of her information from military reports on the Goblin Blood Wars, where groups of soldiers had cornered a clan of goblins into the caves where they were coming from that were near Breach Hill itself. And it's from those reports that in the deepest portion of the cave that there was an entrance to an extremely old ruin that the goblins themselves feared. And as they went down a bit further, they found a ring of strange archways. And she's got that in Necrol's equivalent of quotation marks. But there was something that drove the soldiers away. It was some sort of animated statue. And it said it emerged from a set of nearby doors and just attacked them. Her research also seems to suggest that Alceta's ring is likely one of the first sets of Iodara that were created at some point well before Earthfall, and that there's supposed to be 6 portals, and they're linked to 6 different sites. You see some of her backup notes confirm that one of them once linked to Keonan, but it was that this section of the ring was what had fallen into ruin that the soldiers had explored. The observations from the soldiers, though, suggest that 5 other portals were still standing. You see that Vaz's research, as you get further in, indicates that some of the portals need an item to activate them. You don't find anything that would indicate where the portals might lead. You see Vaz has a few points of speculation, but little else than that. You do sense that there was a lot of optimism, though, because she figures once she secures the site and a chance to study them, that there should be clues that lead to the functions of each one. You feel very solid for these last 4 hours, though you think you might need some coffee.
So, Taffy's going to keep the Book of Necrol translations, or translating the primer.
Mm-hmm.
But she's going to set the translated edition next to, or on top of, the original text. There were no spells or anything in there.
Not within the notes section, no. You did find information that made understanding the nature of the skeletal ritual easier.
Well, she's going to have made side notes for that. Using a second blank book, she's going to keep that as her own journal. And
as you get into her spell book, you find that her spell book's not encoded, so...
Well, I'm keeping the spell book.
Yep.
Nobody's getting that. So she's going to stack those up neatly, tie them up with some twine she finds, and put a note on it that says, "Please don't fucking wake me up." And she's going to go curl in the dead woman's bed.
Fair. Once the kobolds have finished eating, Stano's going to basically pack them and the wargs up and head, waiting for Deimos and Alec, assuming Caslin didn't come back.
Caslin did an awful lot of cooking. What else did Caslin want to do the rest of that evening?
Did he come back to the bookshop to cook?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And he got the stew stewing, and he went to bed and let it sit there under low heat so it wouldn't burn.
So Taffy would have let him know before she went to sleep. "I'm done. Don't wake me up unless it's an end of the world emergency. Good night."
And so here, lovely, early in the morning, Taffy's probably been asleep for an hour. Caslin, did you stay up the whole part of the night? Or...
What do you mean?
Because you went out, you procured ingredients, and you probably would have come back after midnight, kind of in that 2 to 3 a.m. segment of it. And by the time you returned, your gnome was busily scribbling down very frantically. You didn't know little hands could move that fast, but they were moving like lightning fast back and forth. Like, it was the equivalent of Taffy would turn a page, and she'd be looking at a page, and her other hand would be just furiously going in a perfect script. That may have been the most amazing part. It was perfect script, not even remotely looking at it. And then you got everything set up for your recipe that you've been taking care of. But did you want to stay up the whole time that Taffy was? Or did you want to get rest in between?
Oh, rest in between. Yeah.
And so did you want to bring the kobolds in tow, Stano?
Yes.
Okay.
And the wargs. Basically, she was going to get everybody together and head over to Reliant.
So
I'm assuming Alec went back to Wizard's Grace once he was done with Demiri.
So Alec had not actually come back yet.